Yeah, welcome back. This is the session to the continuation of the after domain controller has been installed, and we have a membership called CM01. On this mission, we are going to install SCCM. It can be any version. This video is applicable for from version 2012 to the latest version, which is 1702. But the pre-requirements are the same, but the only binaries are different. Okay, so in our case we are going to install on this machine. Okay, I have created a user called Pavan, and I'm going to log in with this account, and I'm going to install SCCM. Before that, I must have to do some of the pre-requirements. So what to do that? So go to manage and add rules and features. I don't like this wizard, so I'm just skipping for the next time. And then I would be choosing here a few things. Could be, in my case, I want IAS, okay, because this is required for your IAS is required for your TP management point and other few other roles. So we would be checking this. If you locate in the IAS, in the next step, it would asking you all these. Apart from the IAS, it would ask these are the features to be installed. So if you look at here, I'm sorry, that's a domain controller, this is a machine, and the roles once we have selected, this is a feature window. So it says that you should be selecting .NET, which we have shown there, and the ASP.NET 4.5 and the bits, and bits will automatically add a few of the things which are required for the from the IIS panel. Okay, and then there's something called remote differential compression that would be automatically, once we have to take that, and then click on next, and 1 second. Here I would be choosing the components which are specific to basic authentication, URL authorization, IP restrictions, and the components in IS. Definitely I need these. If you look at here in the black post, install site server pre-request bits and the AS components, which are the star are these things, and .NET and this. So here on this machine, I have selected these are the things, but not this. In fact, ASP for your reports. So I have almost selected the required things. I'll just go further to install my post IAS requirements. So this gets automatically installed. Okay, it takes some time. If you look at this, it could fade. I know, no, I was actually expecting this. In fact, what could be happening is if you go through the error, it says that it doesn't find the source. Very similar, if you remember the olden days, like 2003, for anything we add or remove the component from the control panel, we used to put the CD. Same steps here. So here, go here again, add and remove this, then all the things required your CD to be inserted. So I just inserted the CD. Okay, this is the one, and now click on next. So same things I'm taking quickly. This time that's remote differential, the features, that is. So .NET wait, you'll be selecting your remote. I don't want this actually. Yeah, here you would be selecting things. I don't want web dev. The security basic, URL authorization, IP restrictions, and in the components IS6, still the components are built on this. And here is ASP.NET 4.5, 3.5, and that's all. Okay, now look at here, it gets installed automatically. This time it won't fail. If you look at here, it's getting installed now, so it takes some time. That's it. Yeah, it got install IIS component. Now I'll just close that. Now let me install few other components. Okay, so I want to install even WSUS on this server, so I'll be acquiring this machine has internet access, so I would be choosing this. Click on next. There's nothing changed, so the path of this is where it is going to install the WSUS. So I would create here something called WSUS folder, so I would give this folder so that the components and other things will get installed. I'm just installing the binaries and not the configuration part for this. Okay, so it just takes some time, so just close this. It runs the background. Okay, and once this is done, we need to install another hard disk, sorry, another media, which is ADK. The other part is required ADK. Let's insert ADK CD. The ADK is this, the CD of ADK Windows 10. Open to the setup. Yes, and then accept. So we don't need everything. We don't need everything, but we need few components basically which are required to the operating system deployment side. If you don't take these two are important. USMT is required, performance 2 is not required, assessment is required. Yeah, assessment is not required. So total we have selected for 5, 2, 4, 5 in fact. But if you look at this Windows performance, what it does, you're tracking all those things. This is for activation, this is for Windows assessment if you want to migrate one version to another version. Okay, so this requires the following features anyway, deployment tools, all those things. And this is SQL Express Edition, media experience. So I would be choosing this to proceed further for the installation. Okay, click on next. It gets installed, which takes in another 15 minutes or so. So I'm gonna pause this video for now. It's good, automatically done. So we have ADK installed. Once it is done, this is where deployment kits would come. Okay, so the pre-requirements were most of the things has been done now. So if we run by inserting 1606 CD, not this the one. Okay, we're gonna use 1606. Yeah, in a minute. Let me put it that CD. Give me a second. Okay, I have the CD now. Let me insert. I know that I don't have the SQL and all other things, but what I can do is at least I can show what are the things it may request in future. That's the only concept. That's why we are going to install. I have not installed SQL. I know. Okay. Still we'll see what are the things it will ask you to through your errors basically, so that we can fix them as a basic things. Okay, in this case this is going to be a primary site. Okay, and I like to use evolution copy, and I'll accept this. Then so it requires to download few things. Let it download so that it won't fail in future. So in my case I like to create a folder called pre here. So the pre caps 1606. So what happens is this step, it is going to download almost nearby 800, or maybe below 1 GB of data from internet. That's why I need internet, so I have another internet in this machine. So it's gonna download all the pre-requirements. If not, what you have to do is, if you don't have internet connection, you may have to insert the CD on one of the machine, and go for here. The step would be get the latest configuration manager updates. This is a step you would choose it so that it gets downloaded automatically. In my case, uh, it's going to download a few things. Let it be. Okay, it has completed the pre-requirements, and this is for the language selection. I know that it's going to fail it. It's going to show you what are the things it's going to fail. And the site name is the local machine, which is my CM06, I think so. Let's type the host name to find out. Yeah, CMP1. So now this is going to be a standalone. Let's see the protocol, this to be open. I have not done anything in the related to the firewall, service accounts, nothing I've done. Okay, so the SQL also not there. So let's see what happens at this phase. It's gonna fail actually. So this will show you the SQL is failed. Okay, so what we are going to do is actually the setup should be something like this. I wanted to have a total 3 missions example. Let's take that. One more. So this is my domain controller. And this is gonna my primary site. Okay, however, this does not have anything like SQL. It does not have, so I would be installing SQL here, and the IP of that machine would be 3. So let's see. 10.0.0.2 is this, and this is gonna be 3. Okay, and this is the domain controller. Obviously that is the 01001, and the later point I would also come up with another a few other things, like I wanted to have definitely here. I'll show you another office here, which is my data center 2. So what I will be doing is, here I would be adding my 1 second, I'll show you. This is my another data center example. Okay, data center 2. Here I would be installing secondary site later, not now. So as a first step, I would be doing this entire part to be completed. So that's the idea, agenda basically. So for now, what I've done is domain control has been installed. This machine is in domain. These 2 machines are in domain. Now here just the IIS and the pre-requirements has been installed. Now I'm gonna install SQL. Okay, for that, this is a machine SQL, NeoSQL. Okay, Now if you look at the mission name, uh, it's gonna CMSQL. Okay, so I have to put the cd of before that, few other pre-requirements. Let's okay that also fail it, so that we learn it basically. As long as we fail it, we fix it and we learn it a lot. I'm gonna install here SQL. These are all the evolution copies, nothing is the full version. This is 20. Give me a second. So I'm going to install now SQL to be inserted CD. So I will eject as a first step, and then insert SQL. It should be my IS4, and then it should start with the SQL, the name. Okay, let me start with the name SQL. That's the one. Okay, 2016, the latest version. Okay, so I'm sure that .NET framework, all those things are required, of course, but we'll give it a try. What happens basically. In meantime, it comes as the window. In meantime, if you look at here, it has, by this time it has failed. We try to install because it doesn't find the SQL server. It was not hosted on this physical machine. If you look at, this was a physical machine. So what I'll do is, once the SQL is here installed, I would give this machine name and the port. Of course, a few of the service accounts also required. We will do that also as we proceed further. Okay, so as a first step, let's install. Click on install SQL new. It takes almost 10 to 15 minutes or more than that. As I said, allow to use evaluation. Click on next, accept. It does a few things in the back end. It checks for if any pre SQL things were there. Thing could not search because no internet. Okay, so it takes some time, and then click on next. Firewall is not allowed. So if you click here, it says that you have to allow this article. Okay, .NET compatibility. These things should be done. We'll do it later point. For now, I'm gonna install SQL database and reporting services. That's all I want. And definitely for the client side, to connect the studio management, all those things, I definitely need client connectivity components, which are key for me. So I would be choosing client connectivity tools, which includes these. Okay, pre-requirements, those are the. And let's see here, anything am I missing? Yeah, that's it. I think so. No, I can click these things in production. You would be changing to a different drives altogether. Next. Let me go back once again. I think I messed up something. Feature selections for the client components, which would be used for me to select it. I think connectivity SDK. I don't want SDK. Okay, fine. This is the instance name. So what happens is this is gonna register in Active Directory and your things. We would encounter later point with a few issues. We'll see that. We'll talk about it. If you look at the time is 2:05. I'll note down somewhere. So it is asking for the service accounts to be run. Okay, and the collation also should be a different one. So we'll come to this in this step. This is very important actually. Okay, so basically in this step, as I said, we need to create the The I mean basically the SQL Server agent, database engine, reporting services. These three required a service account that should be running. Maybe it can be three different service accounts. In this case, I have not yet created anything. Okay, so I'm going to create and configure this for this installation. Okay, let me log into my domain controller. This is the new domain controller. So service account creation is the easiest method, I would say. Very simple. You go here, create maybe in my case I'm going to create a OU just to separate the things. For SQL service account. So in this general SVC, we call it as a service account SQL for SCCM. Okay, and the password of this should be, this is just need a local admin rights, sorry, the normal network access rights. And also I'm gonna make this okay, let's see. I've done this. Now let's go to this account, properties, browse. Okay, for the safer side I'm just clicking here, browse one by one. So svc dot check it. Okay, I got this. Similarly, I can paste here everywhere, 3 steps. Okay, and the second most critical step would be the collation. So this collation is completely okay. It says you provide invalid. Okay, okay, that's fine. This can be happen since we have not given any password to log into this machine. So we would be adding this user into, let's go to the computer management and see what happens if we can add. SVC dot SQL logon. Still it fails, right? Because this was not configured for the service to log on. Let's go properties, this account. Okay, let me check on this in a minute so that we can come to a step. I'm sure it should be login related issue. So under service logon option should be enabled. Let me enable that. Shit, we have not entered the password. If you look at here, the password should be entered, so which we have not done. Let me enter that password. That's it. So that's a silly mistake what we have done. Entering. Now it should be all should be green except the collation. Collation one, we will be doing that. See, it's a green. Okay. So make sure that this should be SQL LT Latin 1. This is 1 if you zoom it, and general underscore CP1 CI as. If you little bit go down customization, you can easily get confused. So very similar one will be there. So make sure that you have selected the proper one. Otherwise, it throws different errors for you. Okay. So make sure that the default one almost supports the same one, but make sure it should be like this: SQL underscore case sensitive. Basically, this is LATIN 1 underscore general underscore CP1 underscore CI as. So CI or C1, it should be C1 actually, or CI, but the CP1 would be there. Okay, so these are the ones. There's no I and 1, do not get confused. This is I, this is 1. Okay, yeah. So we have selected the right one, which is the default one, then click the next. In the next step, it would ask for the who's gonna be administrator for this. So this is a user who will have full rights. Okay, and Microsoft recommends Windows Authentication. So in my case, I'm going to add my account. Also, I want to add some other account. Say SVC hyphen example. That's what I want to add. Also, I want to add domain underscore admins. No, okay, that's okay. I can add later point. Maybe just click on next. Or what do you think about it? If I add one more user, maybe that looks good to me. So let me create another user very similar to where was that? Yeah, here. Let me copy a username called Vinay. Okay, I'm just copied that user so that same right should come. It's a normal user, and I want to make him as the local admin. Also, let's make it. Let's take Vinay to be the local admin, because in future when you're gonna manage this, so I'm adding this. So in your case, you can add your security groups, AD security groups, also domain groups, basically, so that you'll not miss anybody. So this is basically for the SQL reporting services related. So we just install and configure so that it default available for us. And then install. This takes at least 15 minutes time, or I think so. So we'll come back in another 5-10 minutes. Now the time is 2:20. Okay, if you look at here, it has been already completed the SQL installation, and now I've done that. Okay, SQL installation is done. However, no, this is opening automatically. Close all this. I'm just exiting from the SQL installation configuration, and in my installation, okay, I'm going to use my SQL computer name, which is, let me check it here, cmd host name, sorry, keyboard problem, cmsql. So we'll go to the fast computer. This is cmsql. Do you think I have hyphen? No, I've not followed this standard. If you look at here, 4022, it should fail because we have not enabled that firewall. Okay, so let me fail it. Basically, I want the failure. Once we fail it, we'll unload. Yeah, we got the failure. If you read the message, SQL instance is not configured to use dynamic ports. That means the port is not able to reach. Let's see what I can do. Okay, to configure the SQL ports, I have to log into the SQL server and then go to the control panel and SQL and firewall. See, this firewall is enabled. So this is very similar to the production in a simulation, I would say. So in this case, I would say it's a port. Next, local port. So it was trying to connect on 4022. Okay, 4022. Okay, and it's a TCP. I would say allow the connection on all these profiles. SQL 4022. Well, this is basically SBC, that is service broker service. Okay, so I'll put it as SQL broker port. typing, nothing coming. Broker port. Okay. Apart from this, another few other ports also required. We'll come to that in a minute. This is one of my blog. I do have many blogs out of that. This is one of the blog. I did mention here SQL ports and SQL collation. So as I said, this should be the SQL collation, and the SQL requirements port should be these should be enabled. Of course, the ICMP and asks, but this is for SQL browser. That is 1434 and 2382, 2383. 4022 and 1433. So in this case, I'm going to create 1433, which is a SQL port. So I should log into the SQL server. Let me log in. I should be logging into in a minute. And then I'm going to create another role for the port. So the port is not this. The port should be, I just copied the port, I think so, 1433 for the SQL server. Okay, I love the connection in 1433, 1433 SQL server. So this should be enabled. It's allowed. Similarly, I have to create another port. Click next. If you look at here, port should be 144022. So let's enter 4022 and then next. Hello 4022 for SQL broker installation. Okay. And this another port also should be enabled for the admin console related. Sorry, that should be port. What should be the 4034, which is admin related. 1434. 1434 SQL admin related. Done. This is done. This is done. 2384. So I'm going to install port 383 283. And in fact, I can create here so 2383 to 2384. Okay, because 82 and 84 both are to be opened, so I can make it 82 84 at once. So 82 to 94, 83 on. So let's make it to 3. Okay, so these things has been added. Now port IT and SSL should be enabled. So I would be enabling port IT. Okay, and also 443. And I need to give. This is the secure port 443. Everything is there. 1434 also should be given. So what we can do is, I have already 1433. Just enable this to a range of protocols, range of ports basically. Now you see this, what is enabled, and I'm gonna log into my SCCM server, which I'm gonna install. So click on next. What happens? Let's see. Yeah, if you see here, it is automatically got detected and puts code enable, so we were able to proceed further. Okay, let's. There should be the normally in SQL or your SQL log file and database, so people will go for a different configuration altogether. Uh, and this, since it's a lab, of course, I would go for C. Otherwise, maybe a log goes to a log folder. Otherwise, uh, something like that. The database goes to the database folder. Say example. Now I have a C drive, so SQL, and under that database, with one more folder for me, logs. These are the transaction logs. So the first one would be the database, other one would be the logs. Click on next to continue further. So it is that path doesn't exist. You know why? It's very simple. We are not on that machine with this path. So let me go ahead and create. So I can do it from here. In fact, slash slash CMSQL. If I'm create the machine, C dollar, or the machine IP is 10.0.0.3 C dollar. I should be able to log in or go to the machine. This is the machine. Here, create SQL, and it could be database and logs. So of course I don't have firewall is not opened SMB. That's what. Okay, click on next. This time what happens? See, so what happens is basically what we have done is we started SQL exceptions. However, for some reason it is not working, right? So if you read this path, earlier it was stuck at the ports, so we gave the exceptions, okay, for that. But now for that, by going ahead, these are the exceptions, right? Till this, okay. But yeah, till this, we have done the exceptions in the firewall. However, if you encounter very similar error, path does not exist, that means what is happening is this is the CM0 CM server, that's SCCM server, trying to access the SQL database. So what happens is we are gonna try on SMB. That means trying to access based on the IP address or the host name that very similar to this. So which doesn't open. That's the IP of the SQL server, so it's not opening. That's what it says. So it requires SMB also. That's why I have updated. If you encounter this issue, what we have to do is we are gonna actually do these file and print exception on the SQL server in the firewall rule. We should be enabling, or there would be another method also, if I'm correct. File and print should be, people will enable in the customizations exceptions, or they do configure in the group policy. Most of the companies, they would automatically enable file and print, but in this case I did enable. And now if I go back here, click OK. You see this earlier it was showing that it's not able to access based on the IP also. So now I click OK, and then next it has taken immediately. Even we go back, the same IP, I don't remember, I'm sorry, the host name, so I'm just trying on the, see, it's opening. So SMP code, blocked. So where you're going to install the provider, I'm going to install the provider on my SCCM server. Okay, currently I'm going to use HTTPS. Later point, as I said in the initial video, I may go for HTTPS communication of each and every role, but not now. Okay, and these are the things which is trying to access, and that's fine. It's going to install my MP GP as part of the typical as part of the straightforward installations. Okay, and this is the new diagnostic and users information, which is CAP or customer experience program. Click on next. It's not responding. Come on. So as you remember, maybe this is a lengthy video, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to check the pre-requirements. Okay, and we would definitely get a lot of errors, okay, as a part of the steps. Okay, I click on next, then it actually runs a pre-checks. It says that, hey, you have not done the schema extensions. Okay, schema extensions are used to client to get automatic site code information, so that client gets automatically the site code information, and it can do many things, or it can communicate with the other server in any case. Okay, that's the information. You can see the, if you double click it, it gets that more documentation along with the article. How do you extend the schema? We are going to do everything here. We're going to fix it. Okay, every error. Let's wait for to complete the pre-request checks. Okay, so it has just completed the pre-requirement checks. If you look at schema extension, okay, how to extend schema is easiest method. Okay, let's go to the Active Directory machine, the middle machine, and log in here with your schema admin. So schema admins, or under built-in groups, you will have schema admins. You see here I'm the administrator, so I should be able to extend the schema. So I'll go here, and then I'll insert my SCCM server CD. Mostly I should have here 1606, yeah, and then open setup bin. By the way, if you see here, this is the exe file. Okay, this actually extends the schema. What happens is in Active Directory, to extend schema, of course these steps can be done anytime. So say example, you first executed that exe, which would extend your schema. Okay, and then you can create here a container. Okay, creating a container is not possible with the Active Directory users computers, but it is possible with ADSI edit. Okay, so here I'm connecting. Say right click connect, it automatically takes to the default naming context, and this is my domain controller and the system. I should be creating new object called container. Type is the container, a class is container, name is, it should be SYSTEM, system management. Okay, if you look at here the error, if you look at here, verify you have a permissions, this is the second one. It says that this was the article. It gives you step-by-step instructions, and the container, it is looking for system space management. You look at the same space and the spelling. If it is okay, we can proceed further. So management, right? Yeah, click next, finish. So now what happened is, in this earlier it was system management was not there, but if I refresh here, it is not there, right? See, IJKL NOP, nothing. If I refresh the system, because under that we created, now system management was there. So this is what we created. Now in this, okay, in this SCCM gonna write some values. Okay, we'll see that. Okay, before that, Well, extend the schema, right click, run as admin, or go to the command prompt with the administrative permissions or the rights. Go to that path. Okay, I'm in that path. Change the directory. Extend schema. That is ex for extend, ext extend, ad active directory, as ch is schema. Now what happened is try to extend the schema, so don't expect anything here now. See, nothing happened. But if you look at the log file, let me open File Explorer. A log file would automatically created under extend ad schema. These are the things has been created under system management container, but you don't see here. Okay, you don't see here under system management right away, but these are the a kind of template is ready. Now what happens is SCCM server has to fill that values. Okay, it has to fill that. So to fill that under this with these fillings, fill in the blanks, say example, it requires a permission. So what we'll do is we would actually create a AD security group. Say I can create go here to my users. Okay, I'm going to create a AD security group called SCCM underscore service. So what will happen is under service I'm gonna add members. For the members, my SCCM server, but not a computer. It's a computer, not a user, right? I'm sorry. So I should remove all these and choose only the object type is computer. So now if I click find, okay, I'm sorry, click find, I get my SCCM server. That's P01. Apply. Now what I'll do is I'll go to the system management, properties, go to security, advanced tab. Now another window. So here change, okay, SCCM service, okay. And now if you look at SCCM service should be added here. Just trying to check it. Cancel. This is gonna, yeah, here this is what add, and say select principal SCCM underscore service. Okay, click OK. Now full control for this object and all the dissenting objects. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Apply. Okay. And if you see here after applying OK, you should be able to see something here. A system service with special rights. Okay. This object and all distinct objects, that should be there. Okay. Now what we have done is we did fix two things. We did extended schema and we also have the rights. Okay. This is the first one. Schema extension has been done and we did grant the permissions to the systems management content. Now it is saying that if you look at the SQL server does not have a permission to write back to a system server. That means SQL server doesn't have a permission to write in SCCM, as well as vice versa it should write. So these things should be written back. So configuration managers required site server computer has administrative rights on SQL server and management point computers. What does it mean? If explain, if go through this line by line or word by word, I would say administrative rights are missing on SQL server and management point. Okay, so to do anything, okay, it requires permission. So what I'll do is I'll go to the computer management. Sorry, go to the tools, computer management, and the groups, admins. We would add, not the user. We would be adding the computer. What is the computer name? The computer should be, this is the SCCM server, so I would be adding SQL server. Okay, if I run it also, I'll get the same error because it has to be written back to the SQL server. So let me go back here. DC, this is the SQL. Yeah, this is the server. I'm sure you got a lot of good experience with the failures. Now I would be adding my SCCM server on SQL server. So now both the machines have a permissions to uh, system account, has admin rights. Now that error should go away. And there is some other error. It says that memory utilization. Okay, if you look at here, service configure memory uses as to have a maximum limit. What does it mean? If you look at the SQL server, if I install SQL Management Studio on this machine, by any chance, on SQL server, is that this is the one, right? Okay. SQL Studio Management was not installed as part of the installation. I would be, installing it now, but just to show you here, let's rerun. The we should get the two errors. One is the SQL memory one, and the memory is low or the max setting. Either one of this or the two. Okay, two I would say. Now let me pass for a second and go ahead to the management installation related download. I would do it. SQL Studio Management Studio. 1 second. Okay, I have actually downloaded now the SQL Management Studio. I'm gonna insert this CD and check the current CD, which is in SQL Server, and it should be SQL 2014 and Management Studio. This is the CD which I need to here. Not this, not this, not this. Open up. Okay, I'm gonna install SQL Studio Management Studio where I can connect it and then do the installation of Studio Management so that these two errors which are on my screen currently, okay, won't go. And if you look at verify site server permissions, it's still it is showing because what we have done is we have added a group membership. So that means the group has been added to the system management container called SCCM underscore servers. So any group changes only will affect after a log on and login. So after log off and login. So that's why there's error. So it can be ignore for the moment, or you log off and log in. You would clear up that error. Okay, and the new installation, I'm going to install only Studio Management Studio, which would help me to connect to the SQL database and run some queries if required, or to fine-tune my SQL database. Something like that can be done with this Studio Management. So I must have to accept these Microsoft license. I can go here. Yeah, I don't have internet, so because that, but takes more time. Taking up my Studio Management client SDK, basic tools. So it requires 3.5 dotted framework, which should be here, I think so. Let's go to the management roles and features of the local server. Under roles, this the one should fix it. That problem required to restart. Sorry. Rerun after that. Uh, yeah, just the one. Make sure that you inserted your operating system CD, operating system CD, that is 2012 in this case, otherwise it fails. In fact, it has failed. So after redoing the everything by inserting the CD in this case, SQL is there. Still, it has failed. Yeah, you see this. It says that try installing the roles and features again. So that's the error. Okay, we would include the operating system deployments. In fact, what happened, it was actually keeps failing. So I went to the website, Microsoft website. I found that there are, due to some issues, .NET Framework was not able to install on all these versions, and that can be faced if we can download and install this patch. Okay, the patch 03000568 x64. So I've done that in a minute. This one, just install that, and after that now it's proceeding further for the .NET installation. I mean .NET framework basically, and once this gets installed, we will definitely go for the SQL Studio Management installation. Yeah, if you can see that the installation is succeeded and this happened, and now the installation is success, so I can close this. So there's no pending task. Now I would be installing the Studio Management to insert CD Management Studio. I'm gonna use this. I'm sorry for this. Duplicate so that it gets extracted. So these are the automatically selected. I have not done anything, but you can select all the time. And now it's just proceeding further automatically for the installation. I think it takes maybe in a minute or so. Once this is done, I'll resume the session. Yeah, almost the installation has been completed. Now we should get here Studio Management. Earlier when we searched, nothing was there. Studio Management, still not there. Looks like so. Still going. Come on, it should be done. Yeah, it's done. is the one which we are looking. So close the installation path, exit that CD so that nothing will be there, and connect with this Windows authentication. You'll be surprising to see these configuration how Microsoft does. If you look at the memory configuration, it's going to use 2 GB. Even though my machine has just 8 GB or whatever it is ready to use as much as it can. So there should be no limit as per Microsoft 8024, and the minimum as 4024, something like that. You can always restrict so that these settings are only affected after the restarting the service. Okay, that's a different. So that SQL always uses very little bit amount of RAM, otherwise it will extend. In my case, I have only 4 GB. I would definitely have to extend the SQL RAM also. I'll be doing that. Fix the settings. I'm gonna shut down this PC. Okay, and increase the RAM. So it has only one, so I'll go for 4, and this would be 16 GB. I think it requires a reboot after this to utilize that performance. So we just logged into the machine and we could see the performance of the SQL Server now. It's utilizing 4 processors. Out of that, only 26% of the CPU and 1 GB of RAM. Pretty cool. Okay, now I think that should be 8 GB minimum. That's okay. Let's check this. What is that? Yeah, this is a server which we try to install SCCM. Let me log in. So if I read on, yeah, of course I should have log off and log in so that it gets the group membership effect. Four processors, 8 GB RAM. So memory is highly utilized. So only thing is we got now these publishing of Active Directory. That was just because it was not part of the group. It was part of the group, but it requires a log off and log in. So if this goes, everything is good. Okay, and what memory says is the minimum should be the maximum. 8 GB is the minimum. We gave the 4 GB as the minimum. That's where we got this error. This can be eliminated with that. Okay, that's the only thing we got it, and I think so these two can be ignored in fact. So let's jump into the begin install if you're okay, or we can log off and log in and do these changes. For this as soon as you install this system, you may have to log off and log in so that this gets affected. So in my case, I'm going to cancel this completely, because as I said, we are trying to identify the pre-requirements. We have done that. Okay, now I'll just say shut down, and I'll increase a little bit of RAM or to this machine. Sorry. Yeah, it is turned off. And 4. This also I'll put it as 16. 4 processors should be fine. Now SQL Studio Management. this should be the 8 actually. And this can be maybe 8 or whatever the RAM you wanted to allocate. So in my case, I'm just giving it 8 out of 16 GB. As I said, you need to restart the services always, otherwise these changes SQL never accept. So let's log into the machine of SCCM, which we are going to install. It looks like I may have to take another video session for secondary site installation. And it should be here, SCCM 1606 should be inserted to the CD. We can start the installation straight away. Let's jump into the machine. Oh my god. The screen size is increased. Give it a second. Oh, this one. Sorry. It's logged in. Go to the CD. If you look at here, it is always talking about the WC server was installed, but it never got. It was never updated. In fact, so, I'm sorry. Sky is getting. So finally, I was able to take the control of the mouse inside the virtual machine. I'm sorry for that. So we're going to install now as the final because we have everything is set now, the RAM, everything. But now it's gonna use evolution copy. We are gonna use evolution copy. As I said in the beginning of the video, we need to accept this was already downloaded at the first step, so we no need to again re-download the things. If you got doubt, you can always recheck the first thing as a first. There's a pre-1606, the folder which we created here, and go download it because this machine has the internet that time. And when we click on this, it takes at least 1 minute or so to validate the hash file, all those signatures. Okay, then next that's a console and the client installation one, and this would be the my site code. So I'm gonna use p01, and I would say that primary site. Okay, I'm sorry for the spell mist. Site for maybe I can say that this is for Asia pack. Okay, then I'm gonna install the client, sorry, the console, and it gets installed in this. In your case, if it's a different drive, you can always choose that. I'm gonna install as a standalone, and these ports we have already done, so it should accept everything. I'm sorry, we should give the SQL as the computer name, unfortunately. Come on. Normally people will go for a same site installation with the same SQL, but for the good performance reasons we always go for a different machine with the SQL. So in this case, the SQL server name was if I'm correct, let's go to the SQL server where it is. This is the one, SQL. The machine name is CMSQL, so I should give as CMSQL here, and then it verifies to create this database on by going with dynamic port 4022 and other ports like 143132 and other ports which I did mention in the my one of the blog. So we got error. That is expected because we should give here CM SQL. That's it. Click on next. It should take immediately. Next step, which is CMSQL, right? The CMSQL, which is the correct name, CMSQL. Of course, it doesn't matter this case sensitive or not, because it's a name at the end. Take some time. Yeah. So now this is where it's going to be, put the data, all those things is fine. Next. So we are going to use HTTP based. Whenever the clients have HTTP based, we can choose that. In the prereqs, I have not taken this, just skip that. Now here I can say at this point of time HTTP only, because I don't have PKI certificates. Now I'm going to use this, and I have direct internet. So this is a new role where it gets automatic installation of automatic updates for the current branch of SCCM. That the checkbox. So this time we get definitely everything is met, then we would start installing. Should be finished in another 30 seconds. So if you look at here, it says that the SQL only the issue, which we gave is maximum as 8 GB what we have gave, and that's a problem. That's fine, okay, since it's a VM. And then I've started beginning installation of SCCM, which is the current branch with the 16.06 version. So this takes obviously some time. Let's talk about the logs. So the logs, these are the logs it got created. Okay, we talked about one of the log called Active Directory schema extension log, which was when we extended. This is a log file. This is the first line, and the other logs are related to the pre-requirements and the setup log and all this. So if you open this opens in the notepad. So it doesn't looks good for SCCM engineer. So what he does is normally under SCCM CD, if you go here under tools, there's a CM trace. So normally we double click that and click as, so that every time whatever the extension of .log it was there, that would automatically opens with this file. So in this case, if you go back to, oh my god, I've closed, looks like my server. Give me a second. Let me see. So if I go to the console of this PC, to the C drive, I would see these logs, pre-requirements always with this. This looks good to me, this was the pre-requirement log, and this is the setup log. If you look at here, it's doing whatever it is doing. You would get a latest update, and sometimes you get like this because it's not found, was treated as error. That's why you got an error. I mean, the color was right. If something warning, it gets in a different color. Anyway, this is not really an error until you fail it, or the installation gets failed. Till that time, you don't need to worry about anything, because these are the color codes based on your detection method. Say example, not found, error, all those words always in right. Okay, it's going to create it database. So if you see in the database, to the server, studio management, the databases, this is a database. It is going to create it. It has created, and then it's going to create a lot of tables here, and this everything gets created here. Okay, and this takes maybe a 30 minutes to 40 minutes time. I would pause, or I may not show you. I would say the finished pattern. I'm sorry for that. I have to move. Thank you for watching.